Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Braniff, and today we are going to be doing a little Q&A. I ended up asking you guys over on Instagram for questions, and it's been a while since I've done a Q&A, and I just thought it would be fun. I said, let's just talk about anything like motherhood, marriage, family, homeschooling, business. And of course, y'all know I love it when you ask me like fun and silly questions too. I always think that those kind of questions are fun to hear people's answers to. So that is what we are doing today. We're going to do a little Q&A. There are a ton of questions. I'm not going to lie. There's a ton of questions. So a couple things. I might make this two-part. So if it said part 1 in the title, then you know that henceforth there shall be a second part coming later. And also if there's repeat questions, because inevitably I get a lot of repeat questions. So if there are repeat questions to the previous two, I think I've done 2 Q&As on this channel so far. So if there are repeat questions from those, then I might go ahead and read the question and then let you guys know that I've already answered that in a previous Q&A, and I will link both of those Q&As in the description box so you can go watch. That way, we're not answering the same questions every single time. I say this every time, but I really love watching Q&As. I like getting to know people and getting to know people from channels that I'm watching and stuff. So I think videos like this are fun. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but if y'all like Q&As, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. You can always leave further questions if you have them, and I can use those for the next time I film a Q&A, maybe something like that. If you are new here, you should subscribe, stick around. I've got lots of fun videos coming up. I make all kinds of content here: motherhood, family, large family, food stuff, recipes, homeschooling. We talk about all the things, so you should subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into the Q&A. Will you ever do another weight loss or intermittent fasting update? I could, if you guys are interested in that, if you'd like to know more. I did a video, I think, in January, and it's still working really, really well for me, and I can absolutely do another update video if y'all want. So let me know down in the comments if you want to see another update about that, but intermittent fasting is still working really well for me. It's definitely a lifestyle for me, and I am more in like maintenance mode of it right now. Like, I'm not really trying to lose any more weight. So I'm definitely in maintenance mode. So it's kind of nice because I can switch back and forth between doing clean fasting or not having a clean fasting window. Anyways, I can get into that in a video if y'all want to see or know more about that. Did you already, or will you do the Instagram clothing sale? Did I miss it? You did not miss it. I have 3 boxes of stuff from when I decluttered my clothes that are sitting in the corner. I need to do that. I need to get on that. But if y'all want me to go ahead and start listing those items, I'm happy to do that and get that up. I really need to get them out of here. So one way or another, I need to get moving on that. Coke or Dr. Pepper? If I had to choose, I would say Dr. Pepper. I don't really drink a lot of soda. I quit drinking soda probably in like my early to mid 20s, and now I really just can hardly drink it. It's so sugary, like it makes my lips feel sticky, it makes my stomach hurt. I just can't really do soda. It's not really my jam. But if I had to pick, definitely Dr. Pepper. Coke is, ooh. What homeschool method do you most identify with? You know, I've always said this, I feel like I'm kind of an eclectic homeschooler. I take a little bit from a lot of different philosophies and thinking around homeschooling and methods. So I very much consider myself eclectic because, yeah, I don't really follow one particular method to a T, or even necessarily agree with all the tenets of each method. So I kind of just pick and choose, which is a really nice aspect of homeschooling, is you can do that. Dream travel destination that you have not been to already. Oh my gosh, my travel bucket list is so long. I actually just booked everything for a trip that I'm going on with my mom and my sisters next summer. We are doing the Jesus Walk in Israel. So we're basically like kind of hiking, backpacking through the Jesus Trail, the Jesus Walk, and I am very excited about that. But I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to Ecuador. I want to go to Peru. I want to go to South Africa. And of course, like, I really want to go to Greece and Rome and do like Santorini as like a, relaxing kind of vacation. But I definitely, my bucket list of travel is long, of the places that I really want to go. Did you think you'd be a boy mom or a girl mom when you were younger? Well, I've talked about this before. I actually didn't think I was necessarily going to have kids or know if I even really wanted them when I was younger. But once I kind of started thinking in the direction that I was going to have kids and everything, I had always sort of pictured myself as having, I always kind of joke around and say like Little Women, right? Like I was going to be Marmee and I was going to have just a bunch of little girls. That was sort of what I had in my head. So it was very funny when we started the adoption process, and turns out that we adopted a boy and then another boy. And it was just really funny to see how God was like, comes in and goes, well, that's a nice plan you have. That's a lovely plan. Now, here's what I have for you. Here's my plan for you. And it's always so much better than our own. I think I was just always afraid of being a boy mom. And I'm so glad that God knows better than I do, because I absolutely love my boys. And they are. Definitely. They got a lot of energy, They're a little bit wild sometimes. But I didn't realize how much I would actually like that and how fun that would be and what parts of my personality it would pull out to be a mom to boys. I was really kind of a tomboy as a kid. And so I've had so much fun being a mom to boys. I just didn't see that coming. But again, that's why God's plans are better than our own, Is it challenging to be your own boss? Yes, it is in many ways. There's many wonderful things about it, but I don't think it's for everybody. And I will also say that it's really challenged me to my own personality traits and things that needed to be worked on, and kind of certain things that needed to be eradicated in the way that I work and the way that I do things, because there isn't someone breathing down my neck telling me that I have to get things done. Working for myself has always been very appealing to me, because my personality type is what it is. I'm not even going to go into that, but I get bored very quickly doing the same thing over and over again. I don't like monotony, especially when it comes to work stuff. So working for myself is nice because I can very much like ebb and flow and shift and change projects and stuff like that. But it's not always great when I need somebody to put the hammer down and you're like, I got to put the hammer down on myself. When you have to have a one-on-one meeting with yourself to be like, listen, I need you to get your head out of the clouds and get your butt in your office and do your work. Sometimes I can be a really mean boss to myself, and I have to be, because sometimes as a employee, I get very easily distracted. So boss Angie and employee Angie often battle it out. Favorite dessert? Definitely banana pudding. Like good old Southern banana pudding is by far my favorite dessert. Have you had to cut things out over time to help you stay focused on your goals? I'm not sure exactly what this is in reference to. I'm assuming you mean like work and life stuff. And absolutely, yes. There's a lot of things that I have like always a long list of things I want to be doing, things I want to try or whatever. And I'm constantly having to cut things out. I did a video a couple years ago talking about an article I'd read about how you can really only do a certain number of things. I think it was like 3 to 5 things really well. If you try to do more than that, you are not going to do them all really well. And so I really have had to be honest with myself at times and write down all the things that I'm responsible for in terms of my children and my family and my home and work and all of that. And like, what are the things that I can cut? And that is very hard for me because I don't like letting people down. So when my audience is asking for things, when people are wanting to see certain types of content or more of this or more of that, and I'm still trying to run a business, so I have to like think with a business mind about things, but I also don't like letting people down, and my family and stuff, obviously, like they come first, and I don't want them to be moved into a position where they're coming after work things just because I'm trying to make everybody else happy. So yeah, it can definitely be hard to kind of sit down and have those like come to Jesus moments with yourself where you're like, okay, this is not working. It's time to trim the fat, as it were, and figure out what things you can let go of and what things you just need to embrace and keep going with. What do you think is the most important thing for someone to know before adopting? I actually did a video called 5 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Adopted. I think that's what I titled it. So I will leave that link down below so that you can go watch that if you're interested. And I did also create an adoption resource guide. So it's really for people who are interested in adoption, are starting the journey or thinking about starting the journey, and would like to know sort of it's what I wish I would have had, to sit down and sort of look at everything and look at it very holistically and honestly. So I will leave that link down below, the link to get that resource, as well as the video that I made. So that will answer all those questions. Craziest conspiracy you believe in. So y'all know that I do dabble from time to time in a tinfoil hat, and I feel like over the years, I don't know that there's like a crazy one that I actually believe in now, but I would say the craziest one that I ever really entertained as I thought it could possibly be true was the idea that we didn't actually land on the moon. I gave that one a lot more bandwidth mentally and a lot more of my time digging into it for truth than I have for other conspiracies that I've felt like right off the bat, like this isn't, I don't buy this for a second kind of a thing. But that one I entertained for a good bit. And some of y'all may know, if you've been around for a long time, that my grandfather worked for NASA, and he was there during the Saturn launch. I just thought it was kind of funny, and I wish that I would have talked to him about it before he passed away. He passed away in 2014, but I wish I could have talked to him about it and asked him some questions that I have before that. But that's sort of the craziest one that I think I gave some credence to for a while, where I thought, what if it's actually not true? What if we didn't, you know? But the others that I think are true, I don't consider to be crazy. And it really depends on like what you deem conspiracy and what like is just a simple matter of misinformation and disinformation from the government, you know. Tips for navigating transracial adoption and keeping kids connected to culture. You know, I'm thinking at some point I might do an entirely separate video about this. It is absolutely something that needs to be given a lot of consideration before you adopt, and how you're going to do that and what your plans are to do that. And, you know, for us, we have many different cultures represented in our home. And so it is something that you have to be intentional about. You have to think about, because quite frankly, it's not going to come naturally to you because it's not your culture, right? It's someone else's culture. So it's not even going to come naturally to you. So sometimes you have to kind of seek those things out and be intentional about finding people and places and resources and stuff like that. So maybe one of these days I'll do a whole separate video about that. That might be more helpful. How much caffeine do you consume in a day? A lot. I've actually gotten better where I'm not drinking nearly as much coffee the second half of the day as I used to. So I'm usually, 1 to 2 cups in the morning, and then I'll try to just have one in the afternoon or later. And it's not even about the caffeine for me, because I can drink a cup of coffee and go to bed. Like, the coffee does not keep me up or keep me from sleeping. It's the flavor. I love coffee. I love the taste of coffee. So I can do decaf, and I do decaf when we have it. Christopher does not like decaf coffee, so we don't often have it in the house. But when we have it, I'll just do decaf, because I don't need the caffeine or necessarily even want the caffeine. It's just, I like the flavor of coffee. And like I said, I really only drink coffee and water unless I'm having like some kind of a specialty drink or glass of wine or something like that. But I don't drink soda or any of that kind of stuff. So I drink a lot of coffee. Any more kids? How did I know that question was going to get asked? Although I'm going to be honest with you, I think I only got asked that question 2 or 3 times, which is a lot less than usual. I usually get asked that question like every 3rd question whenever I do a Q&A. There's no plans for any more children. Y'all know that we don't like to come at it with an approach of like absolutely no, never. But we are not, our heads are not there. We feel really, really blessed to have the children that we have. We love our family, and the dynamic right now is, it's full. We are in the depths of teens and a baby and toddlers and all of that. So it's not really on our radar to add any more kids to our family at this time or anytime soon. When will you allow your children to date? 16, 18? We've kind of always said 16. That was pretty much the rule for us as well. You know, we would hang out with friends and go with groups of friends to movies or things like that. But yeah, that's probably about the age that we will begin to entertain those kinds of conversations. If you could be any color in a crayon box, what would you be and why? Oh, that is really tough. I think I would be an orangey red, like an orange toned red. That's what I feel like I would be if I was a color crayon. Why? I don't know. Almost like this warm vibe to it, but it can also be like a little fiery because it's red. You know, I feel like that's kind of me in a nutshell. I don't know. It's hard to be introspective about yourself in terms of a crayon, you know? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm probably overthinking it. How do you keep yourself motivated to accomplish so much every day? Well, first of all, I've said this before, and I feel like I really have to like reiterate it every time. It's very tempting to see people online and see things that they're posting or doing, and it feels like, oh my gosh, these people are doing so much every single day. That's actually typically not the case. If people are doing a good job at their job in terms of working smarter and not harder, then they are batch doing things. They are scheduling out posts and videos and things like that. Just feel like sometimes the online space can be a little bit deceiving, and not intentionally deceiving as though people are trying to make you feel bad or anything like that. But I always say, like, I do a lot of things, but I don't do them all every single day, right? So I very much sort of block my time for work and housework and school and all of that, so that I'm not trying to wear 50 different hats every day. And I am always ebbing and flowing and changing things and trying to figure out a new and better way. I listen to a few different like business type people that give recommendations and stuff that I test out their ways. But in a video I was listening to very recently, he was explaining that his brain doesn't shut off and go back and forth between the different types of tasks very well. And I realized that I am very much that way too. And so what he recommends doing is splitting things up more by the day. So like 3 days a week you work on these things, 2 days a week you work on these things, if that makes any sense. So that's a little bit tougher when you're also juggling like parenting and homeschooling. But I have found that the more that I can get one particular type of thing into one day, the less I'm chopping up each day by like 5 different types of things I need to get done, the more successful I am at it. The better I am at just getting things done in a timely fashion, rather than having all of that kind of like whiplash time between switching tasks and types of tasks that I was like, okay, now I got to go into this mode, and now I got to go into this mode. So I've been testing out different ways to batch things. But at the end of the day, the point is that I'm not doing all the things every single day. So hopefully that makes some sense. You know, if you've been around my channel for years, you've seen things evolve and change in our lives and our roles and our work and all of that. Particularly when I'm talking to moms, I want to remind them that my husband works at home with me. So he doesn't leave and go to the office every day. When he did, there's no way I could have managed homeschool and 2 YouTube channels and all of that. There's no way. So my circumstance is going to look different than yours, depending on what your work life is like, what your spouse's work life is like, and all of that. So hopefully that answers that question. That was not a very concise answer, but I always like really want to clear that up, because it pains me when people try to make it seem like they're holding the world on their shoulders and doing all these things. And it makes other moms and women feel inferior or feel less than, or like, she's doing all these things and I can't do that. That's simply not true. And I really just don't like that. And I don't want to contribute to that in any way if I can help it. So I always try to be as forthcoming as I can about what my work schedule is like and what the dynamic of our life is like and why that's different than what you might think, you know? How often do y'all try to arrange some sort of date night? Before everything happened with the lockdown, we were trying for once a month, but remember, we're in our 15th year of marriage. And so for the first 13 years, there were no regular date nights. I am very passionate about making sure that people understand that what we see on social media in terms of influencers or self-help gurus peddling these ideas of having to have weekly date nights, vacations together without kids, is all of that, would that all be like amazing? Yes. Would it be fun? Is it realistic for most people? No. And so I think that one of the things that makes me sad is to see everyday, regular old people growing up, having sort of regular lives, regular families, looking at things they see online and thinking that that is now the new standard, when it's absolutely not. Kids don't need all the things. They don't need to go all the places. They don't need to do all the traveling. You don't need to do all the traveling. I don't need to do all the traveling. We don't need all the date nights. We don't need all of that stuff. You don't have to have those things to have a happy life, a happy marriage, well-rounded children. There's really a core of love and support and security and safety in that is the core of where I think that the happiness will be found in any marriage relationship or parent-child relationship. So I think sometimes those kinds of things can be dangerous to peddle to people that we must have those things. So before the lockdown, we were trying to do a date once a month. And again, like I said, that is just because we were finally at a place where we could make that happen. Our older kids were old enough that we could hire one babysitter because they could help. And so we would pay our kids, our older two, and the babysitter. But before, we couldn't do it because by the time we paid 2 or 3 babysitters to come watch 7 or 8 kids, there was no way then we couldn't afford to go anywhere or do anything. So we've done date nights at home where we get takeout, put the kids to bed and watch movies and hang out. We do that. Given the nature of what we do for a living, we do have opportunities from time to time to travel and do different things with our family, or travel just my husband and I. It's not something that we did for the first, again, 10 to 12 years of our marriage, and it's not something that we may always be able to do. But we are very much like, utilize what we've got in life right now and make the best of it, because it could all go away tomorrow. And we lived and loved each other well without it, and we will live and love each other well with it, and we'll live and love each other well if we don't have it anymore 2 years from now, if that makes sense. So that's my thoughts on date night. Woo, TED Talk. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. How many kids' pets join you in the bathroom when you go poop? Everyone, anyone. I swear to you, there is a homing beacon, okay? A homing beacon. They know when I go in that bathroom and the little fingers pop up under the door. And I've gotten to the point, particularly my twins, they just come in, they close the door behind them, lock it behind them so that no one else can come in. And then they climb and sit on the counters and talk to me and sit on the floor. I don't go to the bathroom alone almost ever. If I get up in the middle of the night to pee, then I can go to the bathroom alone. But other than that, there is no going to the bathroom alone. And I've gotten used to it. I arguably find it strange to pee alone. It's like, what? No one's going to talk to me? I don't know. Remember the days when there was no such thing as this? And so when you would go to the bathroom to do a number 2, you'd be reading the back of the tampon box, the back of the Clorox cleaner under the cabinet. It cracks me up now to think that like there is no reading material in my bathroom anymore. And I remember distinctly the days of looking for something to take with you or grab something really quick once you had entered the bathroom so that you had something to do while you sat on the toilet. I think that's a good spot to end part 1. Part 2 will be coming to a computer screen or phone screen near you very soon. I'm going to end part 1 here, and I'm going to keep recording and answer some more of y'all's questions because there's a whole lot more that I haven't even gotten to. Like this one. There's an increase in criticism of family channels on YouTube. Any thoughts? Yes. Yes, I do have thoughts. Come back for part 2, and we're going to talk about it. That's it for today's video, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in part 2 very soon. Bye.
One last ticket before it's gone.